Back here again, live from the kitchen. Two, it's on the way.
What's good? What's good?
I didn't know.
What a beginning.
All right, take us to school.
Yeah, man. Would love to, man. We're getting closer to spring break. But before we go to spring break, we have to have another session, man, of class. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get this in right before spring break. For those that live underneath a rock, or just don't follow the show or don't breathe air in the United States, we know that March is Women's Rights Month, and we on LBR want to make sure we stand and support with our women, no matter the color, but definitely with our African American women, right? More and more. But I wanted to start a series, so to speak, that is dedicated to women that was started last week. That was more individual, what that meant to us and great women that are within our lives. Now I want to continue this series, but for this part of the series, we're going to do something a little bit different. In class, sometimes you debate, right? We'll have this like a great debate, so to speak, between us. But no answer is wrong. But Tuke will tell you different. He thinks any answer might be wrong, but nah, I don't think so. But what I'll do is I'll give us two dates that are very prevalent to women's rights for this month, and you guys can debate which date you think is more important, right? And so I don't want to give you a for instance or an example. I just want to go right into it because I know time is of the essence for us. So for instance, well, not for instance, but our first one that we can debate. And feel free to join in when you're ready to. If you don't want to, that's fine too. Here are two dates. Date is January 23rd, 1849, and October 16th, 1916. Let me go back to January 23rd, 1849. This is when Elizabeth Blackwell becomes the first woman to graduate from medical school and become a doctor in the United States. The first woman doctor occurred on January 23rd, 1849. October 16th, 1916, Margaret Sanger opens the first birth control clinic in the United States. Knowing what birth control is like nowadays, and now also comparing to the first woman that graduated as a doctor, which one of those do you believe is more prevalent to Women's Rights Month? And again, there's no order. You can go as you please. If you don't want to discuss, just say pass. That's fine.
I'm gonna say the 1849 date with the first female doctor. We obviously have biologically, we have male and female sex, genders, whatever you want to call it. But I do think there is some value in having a male doctor and having a female doctor, because female doctors obviously know more about anatomy, which in turn led to with 1916 you said with the first birth control doctor. So I feel like that kind of paved the way for understanding female anatomy and the female body, and even things that go beyond just like that part. There's like a socioeconomic component of doctor visits. There's an emotional component of doctor's visits. Me personally, for example, I went to a Black dentist, which was important for me because I want to see somebody that I'm familiar with. I think that's pretty important for women to have a female doctor that they could have an option to go to. So I'm gonna go with 1849.
Thank you, brother. Scott, if you speaking, you was on mute, brother.
I was definitely on mute. Sorry. I think the second date that you mentioned was like what, 1916, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I think that one is really prevalent. Just talking about the first people to really just come up with some form of birth control, just going back into earlier times where sometimes women would be taken advantage of and they had no way to protect themselves. Even the same thing now. There are times when women may not want they want to be sexual with somebody, but may not be ready for the baby. So I think that's really prevalent to women's history. It allows them to be to have some control over their body if they get taken advantage of or something like that. So I think that's really prevalent.
Thank you. Trevor, anything?
Okay, just make sure I was off mute there. Sorry about that. Well, I I probably would lean more because I think both of these are equally important. So it's kind of real difficult to really just choose just one. But if I had to choose one, I would lean more towards the second one, which was in 1916 with the creation, if you will, of birth control, for lack of a better term. Forgive me if I don't remember my history, but that comes, if I'm not mistaken, that comes along the heels of the Roe versus Wade type of deal, which, of course, made abortions legal. To Skylar's point, there are some women that may be sexually active that may not want a child, or it may be an instance where they've been taken advantage of, and it really should just be up to them because it's their body, their choice, whether they want to bear the process of going through childbirth and possibly constantly be reminded of that experience. Or if they just don't want to, they have the option to terminate the whole thing if they would like. So while, like I said, if I had to choose one, because I think both of them are equally important, I definitely would lean towards the creation of birth control because it comes on it's a way of showing progress, especially given everything that transpired after Roe v. Wade. So there we go.
Good job, Trevor, with that one. And I guess in full transparency, I'm gonna go with the second one as well. These are also the times where we've known for the Black African American community to want to have more sex, you know, to be involved in sex, you know, whether it's for pleasure or whatever. So to be able to, you know, for a woman to be able to decide for her body, you know, even back in, what you say, 1920. You know what I'm saying, the 1920s, 100 years ago, you know what I'm saying? And then we're here now where women empowerment is finally getting to the next step of, you know, women saying, this is our body, we can do whatever the hell we want with it, you know. And I think that doesn't happen with, you know, without birth control, right? Because we can't be, you know, just having all kind of sex and having all kind of babies, right? You giving them an option to be responsible. And, you know, this allow women to be responsible, you know, going back, like, let's say birth control wasn't here, you know, 100 years from now, you know what I'm saying? Like, what would America be right now without birth control for women, right? So I think that's very important. Not to say, like, the first African-American doctor, like, still is inspiring, you know, among yourself. But if I had to choose, I'd go with the second one.
And I would go with the first option with the doctor, just based on women's rights. Just think of today, you know, there are probably more male doctors. I don't know the percentages, whatnot, but there are probably still more male doctors. And just with the fact that women have the right to be doctors. I think with the birth control, research you said with birth control, it was kind of hard to choose between, but with birth control, there are other options. Now, a lot of people want to use condoms, but I mean, it's another option. It's alternate options with it. Pills, you know, so with
not having sex.
Right, exactly. There are other options. So even without birth control, the other options exist. So I do think a female doctor, becoming the first female doctor, was very important to where in society has become now, where we see more female doctors, and hopefully the women's rights continue to get to the point where women are more respected in that type of field.
Yeah,
I call bias. Ain't your boo a nurse?
Yeah,
that's bias.
Not really. That's a doctor.
That's not bias. That's just like,
Nah, you want to know how doctors treat nurses?
Shout out to Kev.
whole another topic.
Yeah, that's another topic.
Wow, I'm learning.
If I could choose one of these, I would have actually chose the female doctor. I actually have a PCP that is an African American woman, and to me, I think women have more attention to detail during certain things. To be honest,
yep.
And so I'd rather the person that's looking over my body be a woman of color that knows exactly what goes wrong and right. But also to the point, this clinic doesn't open up without a woman as a doctor knowing the ins and outs of the body to have that happen. And so I'll take that one for that one. So next one that we debate. Again, I'll just give you the oldest date and then the most recent date. The date is December 10th, 1869. This is the legislator of the territory of Wyoming passes America's first women's suffrage law, granting women the right to vote and hold office. That is December 10th, 1869, in only the state of Wyoming at that time, right? Mind you, Wyoming doesn't become a state until 1890. Now, the other date is April 2nd, 19.
They took just for you.
Yes, ma'am. April 2nd, 1917, Jeanette Rankin of Montana, a longtime activist with the National Women's Suffrage Association, is sworn in as the first woman elected to Congress as a member of the House of Representatives. So which one of those do you feel is more prevalent to women's rights and movement, so to speak? Again, 1869, Wyoming passes the legislature for the women's right to vote and hold office in that state alone. They're the first state to do that. Or April 2nd, 1917, where Jeanette Rankin is sworn in as the House of Representatives.
I'm a domino effect person, so I'm always go with the first one, because the first step is kind of like the most important step. Maybe not the most impactful, but the most important step. Like, we wouldn't have like Barack Obama as president if we weren't free. It's like, slaves back in the day. So yeah, I'm gonna go with the first one, just because the first step is important, and then that builds momentum to other things happening across the country.
For sure, I actually want to go with the first one as well, and it's really to kind of to what Savage's point, really, just how much effect women, let alone Black women too, have on the presidential election, right? So I just think that big domino of having that first state in Wyoming to allow women the right to vote. I mean, at this point, 2020, 2021, like it's become really prevalent. And who is elected president in the United States? I think that's huge.
As Savage and Scholar are more so the domino effect, I'm more so about the progress. So I'm actually going to lean more towards the first lady to be elected in the Congress. And don't want to play the race card, but I'm actually going to have to play it on this one for my reasoning. Is when women were going through the suffrage and obtaining the right to vote, the face of that movement, if you will, Susan B. Anthony. Everybody, remembers the famous quote, "I'd rather, lose my own arm than to focus on the rights of the Negro." So seeing an actual woman in Congress kind of, again, shows that it's some progress. Of course, it will be even longer before Black women were actually allowed to vote. But I'd much rather take the progress more so than the first step, because it shows that you're actually doing something. So
that's fair.
It was first lady elected in the Congress.
With you, Trev, my brother, I would actually take progress as well. If you look and see what's going on within laws, specifically in Georgia, they saying that you pretty much can't feed or allow, give drinks to people standing in line for voting. And that's literally targeting one specific group of people. And that's us, right? And I think that women will have a huge say in that, because not to say that we don't particularly care for voting or to helping the next person, but women instantly have that mothering, caring, nurturing ship that's needed, for us to keep going. And I think that even though that's a law, I think that women are gonna be the forefront of that whack law amongst other laws being taken out, because you can't sit up here and tell me I can't give a water bottle to an older lady that's needing one because she's trying to vote. Like, that's pure racism going on in Georgia. And even the lady got locked up the other day for trying to stop voter suppression, right? So I think it's good to acknowledge where we come from, but also the progression that's going on right now, because it's a lot going on. But it's a lot that's needed to be done, and I think women will continue to be the forefront, especially in this age.
Well, I could see the trend of me, Scott, and Savage agreeing. Two could tell for agreeing. That's like the trend we on. But I'm on the. I don't think the Congress thing happens if the first domino effect doesn't ever drop. So. Y'all make some great points about the progression, but I choose the first option just for the fact that I don't think progression happens without the first domino ever happening.
Fine, Sheedy, we both right. Fine. We both right.
We can't be in the wrong. Just based upon time, I'm just going to drop two other ones that I wanted us to debate. We don't have to just do the time and get into that. But the other one was the other two that I was looking at were July 7th, 1981. This is when Sandra Day O'Connor is sworn in by President Reagan as the first woman to serve on the U.S. Supreme Court. Now, the U.S. Supreme Court, as we all know, holds a lot more esteem than just being House of Representatives, right? You're talking about 1 out of 435 as compared to 1 of 9, and making some very, very critical decisions for people's lives that may be wrongfully accused. So that date, there was that date versus this date that's very, very recent to us, which is January 20th, 2021, when Kamala Harris is sworn in as the first Black vice president, first woman of color as vice president of the United States. But as we get ready to close, this is going to segue into our next segment that we have. This date is June 10th, 1963, when President John F. Kennedy signs into law the Equal Pay Act, which is about prohibiting sex-based wage discrimination between men and women, which we did see a little bit of that was discussed this week in sports. But let's be real, in Schooling with Sheedy is going to take it to another level next time class is in session. But you know, the more you listen, the more you know, the more you know, the more you grow. It's your boy. Class dismissed.
Coming to
Good
a
job,
podcast
bro.
near you.
Yes, sir.
Coming to a podcast near you.
Well, I'm learning more and more in history with the pod than I am in classes.
Swear to God, bro. I ain't learned nothing.
I ain't gonna lie. I didn't care in history class, so I didn't pay attention. I am more actively paying attention to you, Sheedy.
Right.
It's more so combining what I was taught to what I'm currently learning. So it's like just
It's important, man. We need more people to tune in, man. It's important for real.
So, right.
yeah.
Dopeness, man. I'm glad that we have a platform to do it.
Yep.
That's fine.
All right. Let's get it ready. Let's be real. 130.
130.
And we just got a breaking news text message from Mr. Scholar.
Right out the gate. Let's go.
Bro was not expecting it at all. Why did you do that? I was expecting that to come later in the
I
show.
just have to look down at my phone like, oh, that's about to talk about the
come
Tigers
on.
anyway. What's the
All right. So before Savage goes up and talks about March Madness, really quickly, for those who do not know, the University of Memphis Tigers did just become 2021 champions of the NIT tournament. And so I have made sure that within my schedule that I will launch the Memphis Tigers podcast through Let's Be Real Media fall 2021. I'll make sure that happens.
Let's go.
Definitely
Let's
break
get
it.
it.
It's a hot topic. We got to make sure to stay real. What'd you say?
You got a name for it yet?
Nah, I literally just made up my mind like as we were doing School of Sheedy. I literally just made my mind.
It's always on their
Listening to what he said made me just look like, you know what? Make yourself do it. It's okay. You got it.
You got it. Let's
The
go.
whole squad, bro. We got you. Need help? Got you.
Right. All right. So we might as well go and talk about the Tigers first. Then we get.
I mean,
I mean,
you want to take it away, Scott?
This is why I was expecting that to go.
You called me up girl last week.
But like I just said, University of Memphis Tigers. I know we talked about the Tigers quite often on the show. It's a hot topic here in the Mid-South. They did just become the 2021 champions of the NIT tournament. So You want to go around the room, get your guys' reactions to it. I think this is a really good story. I think this is a really good way to end the season. So I just want to see what y'all thoughts and opinions are. In the order of, let's go. Actually, thank you, Sharky. Sheedy, Took, Trevor, Sharky, Savage, and then I'll go last.
Yeah, I was like, oh, he about to make me go first. I can see how the order was
Nope.
just made. But this is coming from a fan of basketball, right? And a fan of Ohio State basketball at that, too. So I first started with basketball. This is great for Memphis. Memphis got more time to do better with different opponents, right? They're not just playing the same people over and over, or same two teams over and over, same team twice. And so this was great for them to learn and to grow with, and just the city of Memphis itself. And I mean, Ohio State was the second seed in the tournament, got excused out by Earl Roberts, and now have been picking up their head ever since then, right? Whereas, I mean, yes, we were better than the NIT team, no offense, but the NIT was still going on. Memphis was still getting better, while Ohio State one and done. And so kudos to the guys of Memphis, University of Memphis. Kudos to Penny. Let this be a stepping stone for him to go into March Madness and really start claiming his throne. I think with the way the tournament was, who knows what Memphis could have done, honestly. Who really does know? Yes, we lost to Houston, Houston is, which we'll talk about, how far they've gone, but this was very critical for Memphis. Great quality wins and great time and exposure to what to do in critical moments as well. Took?
Yeah, so it's been really a running joke, right, for the last couple of years of whether or not the Tigers should win an NIT or, go in a tournament, win early, right? And I think I'm a part of the first to say that. And with the NIT, I think that you sense the excitement of finally being able to say we won something, right? We even though it's the NIT, people say it's the NIT. Well, it's something, right? Being able to pour the water on Penny's head when he comes to the locker room. You don't get an experience if you don't win the NIT. The experience of being able to just have something to hold your head to and winning the NIT. That's a great foundation instead of going into the NCAA tournament and losing in the first or second round, as other teams that won't be named or have already been named, Sheedy. But just that experience, just being able to prove that you can just defense, right? Just defense. So I was talking to somebody on Twitter, Devin Walker, shout out to him. He said, you can tell, even though offensively we're not there or where we can be potentially, defensively, there's no way in hell you can say that Penny's not coaching. Defense, we started out 13-0 in this game. You saw the hunger in the players' eyes. You felt that. Let's get on that 16 boards. That's something that's effort. We coming next season, but let's get a good foundation, y'all. And this is a great foundation that I think the rest of Tiger Nation for the tenure of Penny's career will look back and say it started here. This is all I've been wanting for the Tigers for the last really couple of years, and I'm happy we finally got there. Let's get to the tournament. Let's continue to progress. That's why I am. Shout out to Alo too.
Yeah, shout out to Halo, who was able to get in towards the last few seconds, which was great on his part. Like everyone has said, this has been an amazing, amazing closing to the story that was the Tiger season, given everything that's going on. 12 of their last 14, 12 wins of their last 14 games, with the 2 losses coming to a team that's in the Elite 8, which we'll get to later on. Do want to applaud the players' efforts, but I do want to applaud Penny's evolution as a coach throughout this stretch. And I'll let anyone else kind of just go into detail on there if they would like. Again, kudos to the Tigers on this. This is, like Took says, is a great foundation to start as far as moving forward with the Tigers. Finally, to have some form of championship coming back to the city, something that we can finally hang up and cherish for the time going forward. So if this team is back next year, definitely in the NCAA tournament, they can definitely scare some people. So, kudos.
Cool. First things first, shout out to assistant coach, now head coach of South Carolina State, Tony Madlock. Great to send him out on a high note winning NIT. So salute the coach. He deserves the opportunity to finally become a head coach. So I'm glad, happy for him. There's some staff changes there. Of course, they have to take place this offseason. But before we get there, like I said, reiterate everybody said, great win, winning the tournament, specifically the last 2 games, because the Boise State game, that was like our games all season. But the Colorado State game and the Mississippi State game kind of showed the progression. Our defense has been there. They've been there the last 2 years. So that's nothing really new. I mean, us, the real people who know, Penny has always been good at coaching defense. Forget what everybody from the outside say. They've been good on defense. What's the key was last 2 games were turnovers. I didn't really see too many of them. I don't know how they finished from the free throw line, but they started 8 or 9.
15, 22, 70%. I'll take that all day long.
There we go. Now, I do kind of have a problem with that. Did they just start practicing on free throws in the NIT?
Sometimes Sharky, it's better late than never, is what they say.
But it's cool. I'm glad. Hopefully this builds progression. Hopefully the players, hopefully everyone comes back. To me, the only way next season becomes really prevalent from the NIT is if everybody returns. And we had no seniors. So if everybody do return or a majority returns, that definitely springboards us next season to get into the real tournament, the NCAA tournament. So kudos. I still personally prefer to win the conference tournament, but like I said, we got to take what we get in NIT. We won it back in 2002 with John Calipari. I mean, after that, we won Sweet 16 Elite 8 runs. So hopefully we get confident this time as well.
Boy.
For me, the most important thing, and this is why I said this earlier, that this was probably better than making the big tournament, is that this team learned how to win. Like, learn how to actually beat the teams you're supposed to beat, which was my thing all year, particularly with the American Conference. Like, you are better than, in my opinion, you're better than all these teams. You can beat Houston. We've seen that twice. You can beat Wichita State. You can beat SMU. You can beat everybody on your calendar. But just go out there and actually do it. And that's what Memphis did for the NIT. You know, last game they shot 8 or 9 from the free throw line. This game, 15 or 22. 70%. If you make 70% of your free throws, you are going to win ball games. You're one of the best defensive teams in the country. Top 2, maybe number 1. Who knows? But if you play good defense and then you make your shots, so they shot 10 or 22 today from the 3-point line. They shot better from 3 than the 2 today, which is happened before. But I mean, if you're making those kind of shots, you playing that kind of defense, you're making your free throws, you limiting turnovers. You got people like Nolly who got confidence going out there and getting 20. You got Boogie. Boogie has evolved. I don't know if y'all noticed it. Boogie has evolved late in the season. Like, it was one play.
He's playing with a totally different confidence.
Totally different confidence. From early in the season, bro. Like, it was one play. I think Lester got the rebound. Boogie got the ball. He started off slow on the fast break, and then he accelerated quick and had a Euro step into the lane layup. Like, that's NBA shit right there, man. Like, you can go pro with that type of mentality. So I'm glad they learned how to win. I'm glad they played in the NIT. I'm glad that the team bought in. Defense is about buying in. That's I want to play. That's defense. I had a coach that tell me the only way you're gonna play, son, you play defense. And I'll be down, like, I sit in that chair and play defense. So shout out to Memphis. Hopefully this is momentum into next year. Hopefully the team stays together. I know we said Nolly before the show started. Nolly might go pro, which is fine. You still got DJ, you got Boogie, you got guys coming in who are ready to play. Like, this next year, Houston is gonna take a big step back because they're losing a lot of players. So this should be the year that Memphis dominates the conference and gets into the tournament, and hopefully it goes on a run. We'll see.
And I'm about to say also with Houston, Kelvin Sampson, Texas job is opened up.
Yeah.
So beware.
Yeah, you gotta look at that too.
Beware.
It did open up, didn't it? Going on, man.
If I can add,
don't bother me.
You go, Skylar. Something that Savage mentioned. You had to be locked in to win this tournament. Still,
Yep.
You couldn't be down. Memphis wasn't down because they lost again to Houston, and they like, well, we're not gonna make the tournament, so we're just whatever, and not accept the NIT, or even just accept the NIT and then give to the people, the state of Memphis. We say it's a slaw performance, right? So you had to give it your all, and because you gave it your all, look where it got you, right? And it's like we said, building steps to next year in the real tournament. Go ahead, Skylar. I'm sorry.
No, I don't even want to come behind there, right? That's not fair that you did that. But I think what was so impressive to me about this run is not only the fact that they won it, but how convincingly they won it the last two games of the tournament. I mean, to go from a week and a half ago, we were like, look, they can't make a damn free throw, to today. At one point, I think you said, Sharky, they were like 8 of 9, which I was just shocked at the efficiency in which they were shooting free throws. So I brought that up to say, I think what we on this podcast have done is, I think there are times where we would say, okay, Penny needs to push this team further, but the players also have to come up as well too. And I think that's what you've seen over the past several weeks is Penny stepped his game up, but so have the players too. I mean, like you just mentioned, Savage, they shot better from 3 than they did from 2. They at one point shot 8 of 9 from free throws. So all of that is just shows you that like what this team, what we were expecting them to be at the beginning of the season. But of course, things happen. But they got their shit together, and so let's see what they look like going into, like you said, next year. I'm interested to see who comes back, because there were whispers of players not wanting to come back. You saw, I think one of y'all just mentioned too that Tony Manlock is leaving. So that's stuff that we have to look forward to. But I think with this run, Penny can maybe get recruits back that may have like, I don't know if I want to go to Memphis. He has to also refill his coaching staff, so maybe he's gotten some look at with the NIT run. So it'll be interesting, but I can't wait to cover the Tigers through the podcast next fall.
That's gonna be fun, man. I can't wait to see you.
Just for record, 11 turnovers both of those last 2 games. So Memphis really did a great job of taking care of the ball.
That's gonna be a half of them.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because going back to that point, Trevor, the Mississippi State, the championship game, they started off up like 13, 15, nothing before Mississippi State finally scored like 7 minutes to the game. Normally, a team scored because of our turnovers. The reason they had 0 points for that long was because we didn't turn it over.
Yep.
City.
No, so shout out to Lester Quinones, man. 6'5" guard with 16 rebounds.
16.
It's crazy.
That's crazy.
And you know who remind me of?
Effort.
And I think they mentioned it on they actually mentioned it on the broadcast. So I think Antonio Anderson.
Yep.
Like that's
All
exactly
effort.
what he is.
Make a shot.
Hey, hold on. Speaking of,
Yeah.
Penny goes on right now. Hey, Antonio Anderson to the staff.
What do you say, too?
we got to give our flowers to ESPN for finally being nice to us. I wanted to acknowledge that. I wanted to make sure we acknowledge that because we crap on them a lot, but they actually tried. A for effort.
Hey, they're nice. They're nice when you win. That's what happens when you.
That's it.
They're nice when you win.
They get Dan Dockage coming in talking crap.
All right, man. Let's get to the real one.
All right, so the actual tournament, we had the Sweet 16 games yesterday, and some going on right now because I got actually up right now against Creighton. But Oregon State beat Loyola, and Oregon State is, I think, a 12 seed, so that's kind of surprising.
Yeah,
Salute. We lost to them. Keep winning.
Well,
keep winning, baby.
Baylor did beat Nova. Arkansas barely squeezed by Oral Roberts, and Houston, of course, the other American Conference team, won over Syracuse. So, of those teams, which team do you think is the biggest threat to win? Well, not win. Well, I'm gonna say that, yeah. So win the whole thing from those 4 teams: Oregon State, Baylor, Arkansas, or Houston. So we can go in the order on the screen.
So it'll be Sheedy. I think you're starting off first.
Yeah.
Oh, so you're asking me like of the teams I won yesterday, right? Not the best part of the day, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think the overall, like the one that you would want to pick because you didn't know anything was probably like Baylor. And Baylor's a good solid pick to choose, man. Why not go ahead and just make this Cinderella thing go all the way? And why not? I'm a fan of cheering for other people from the conference. And so if we're going to cheer for University of Memphis and our conference, then I would give me Houston.
Okay.
I would go with Lito's team and pick Alabama.
Alabama got in on this side. It's Arkansas.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? I honestly, full transparency, I hadn't watched too much of the tournament, but I would love for DeJuan Howard to do his thing. If I had to choose a team that I want to win, I go for Michigan. Why not? But you know, Alabama looking like they good too, Lito.
I have nothing to say.
I really wanted Sister Jean to win one. Like, you know, she's here for a reason still.
Yeah.
So
Hopefully
I would love for Lola
Hopefully next year.
next year. That's what I was really going for. Like once they lost yesterday, I really don't got nothing to watch at this point now. So I guess if I had to choose one, it'd be Michigan. But I want Sister Jean to get one.
Just based on what I've seen so far in the tournament, until somebody can beat them, because nobody's brought them up yet, I'm going with the Zags because they look like they're probably the most complete team in this tournament at this point. Out of everybody, again, till somebody beats them, I just can't see it. But if I had to choose somebody, I'm just gonna go with my alien brother here. I would love to see Juwan Howard finally break through and just right the wrong that was during his playing days with the Fab Five, if he could possibly bring a national championship to Michigan. So if I had to choose somebody other than Gonzaga, because like I said, I think they're the most complete team right now, then I'll go Michigan.
Why are you looking like that, Sheedy?
I'm looking like that because y'all not answering the question correct.
I was about to say.
I wasn't gonna say nothing after
You said okay, so out of the teams that's already played. Okay, that's
Oregon State, Baylor.
I thought you said period.
No, he's no. I got it. It's out of the teams that's already played. Okay.
No, I was like, you mean Arkansas? You said Alabama.
Well, in that case, out of the teams that have played yesterday, I would probably lean more towards
Arkansas, okay.
Yeah.
Moses Moody been balling. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sure he said who period.
Nah, I did not.
He said, yeah.
I got my script right here.
He specifically named the teams too.
Out of the teams that's played yesterday. That's on me. That's on me.
Let's Be Real podcast, the fattest podcast and the most ADHD podcast.
I mean, Tom threw me off saying Michigan. Wait a minute.
Yeah, I thought he said ever like who do we select to win the tournament? Like,
Don't look on Took's test or his paper. He gonna make you fail.
I'm more than likely to off the next person. What they say about you? The whisper when you whisper to somebody, it's gonna change to the next person. The next person. No, don't see that.
Took back online, which I don't know. He passed down the line.
Go ahead, Shark. Go ahead.
I mean, Took still got to answer.
Oh, Took.
Whatever, man.
He said Loyola lost, so he got to choose.
You a Trey? You tripping? You took a damn Trey. He gonna mess up the tail. Go ahead, Took.
Right.
Lucky for me, I was the tail. So.
Oh no, you make me look bad. Y'all make me look bad, man. I'm finna exit. I'll see y'all next week.
All right, SpongeBob. Y'all over here now. All right.
Come on, man.
Oh boy.
I guess we just get Took just be last. All right. Hey, to be fair, y'all, for Took and Trevor, I was like while he was saying the teams, I was trying to type the names to remember. So I just easily couldn't mess up. But I want to say Oregon State so bad just because Tennessee lost to them, man. You know, the team we lose to win the championship. I mean, that validates me as far as I know. But Baylor, Gonzaga and Baylor been the two best teams all year. I have no reason not to believe Baylor out of those 4 teams would be the best out of those 4 teams to win the championship.
Okay.
All right.
You on mute.
You're on mute, yeah.
Sorry. Going with Arkansas. I really like the way that they play offense. The way that they play offense is, I think, what we see glimpses of. We see times and glimpses of with Memphis. Guard heavy, ball movement, a lot of isolation basketball. And so I think for me, that's kind of fun in basketball, college basketball anyway. So I'm going with Arkansas. I like the run that they've already had. I like Eric Musselman, their coach as well too. So Arkansas for me.
So from these 4 teams, I actually So Houston has like the random makeup of like the traditional tournament team. Like you got your number one player, you got Grimes who can go get a bucket at any time. You got a number two player in Giroux that can go get a bucket at any time, hurt, not hurt, whatever. And then you get that one knucklehead in Saucer who can score like 24 points, but then shoot 0 for like 10 for like the first half. So I think I'm gonna pick Houston, and I actually have them in the Final Four. And they frustrating, but I feel like that would also, as Sharky mentioned, that would validate me as a Memphis fan. Like, okay, like we're good enough to beat Houston, who won the national championship. So I feel good going into next year. So I'm gonna rock with Houston.
Yeah, and one real quick point about Houston is Giroux. The defense that he put on Buddy Boeheim yesterday was unfair. I really liked how the way he played defense and stepped up and took part ownership of the game.
So you got one finally, or you straight?
I mean, if I'm understanding the question right,
move on.
Give me Houston, man. I love for us to be able to just brag and say, hey, we lost twice. We went head up to a team that won. Are we saying won the championship, right? Not the Final Four, not the Elite Eight.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, won the championship. So hey, we lost twice to a team that won the championship. I'm all in for it. It would make people cases that hey, Memphis should have been in the tournament. It'll make their case a lot better.
Yep, not really.
Not really.
You actually got to beat them. not play close.
That's what we talked about earlier. You beat the teams you're supposed to beat. So, and throughout the season, Memphis didn't do that. So,
one thing I can't say about Arkansas. Remember that year Virginia won, and they had all those close games where they skated by against Purdue in overtime, against Auburn at the end. Arkansas is doing it.
Yeah,
skating by Oral Roberts, skating by Texas Tech. They doing it. It's glimpses of the Virginia one, that Virginia run. What 2-3 years ago? So, Trevor, you wrote a blog.
So I wrote something a couple days ago. For those who don't know, on our website. So go check that out if you haven't already. Basically, it's talking about the trade deadline that just came past this past Thursday. Hope y'all turned y'all push notifications off for Sham and Woj. So, I had mine on all day today, but I'll just keep it simple because I know we're not going to cover all the deals. So I'm just going to say, out of all the deals that you've got, and we'll start just basically on how it is on the screen. What deal that you felt was a good deal as far as teams moving forward? Or if there was a bad deal that you felt that shouldn't have been made, what was that? So basically a good or bad from this past trade deadline / buyout season. So we'll start with the screen. Sheedy, Toop, Savage, Sharky, Scholar, then I'll close it out.
It doesn't need to go past me to let you know that the worst team during this trade deadline had to be the Houston Rockets. I mean, close them. The Rockets are pathetic. But I know I'll give you your time. But to me, the winner of the trade deadline is still the Brooklyn Nets. They traded and got James Harden. Right? I mean, he was still a trade that happened. And James Harden, to me, is the best player that got traded this entire season. And he is the one player, to me, that makes a significant impact in regards to their team. I don't see that with Victor Oladipo coming to the Heat. No offense, but he's not an MVP candidate, right? Aaron Gordon is not an MVP candidate. James Harden legitimately can have an MVP candidate performance, or so to speak, a campaign right now based upon what he's done with the Nets. And look where the Rockets are. I close my case.
Or Steven Silas.
I know, right? Poor Steven Silas.
If I had to pick a winner for the trade deadline, it would actually have been the Denver Aaron Gordon move. I say that because one, I was looking forward to seeing Blake Griffin, the trade rumors that was going on over the summer of him going to the Nuggets. And I was like, okay, boom, perfect fit. Like he's a slasher, perfect slasher. Jokic just be on the outside, one of the best bigs ever to pass the ball. So, okay, cool. That didn't happen. I was like, all right, cool. But then you upgrade to Aaron Gordon. And I think this is a move that does make you better. I don't think like that much better, but I think it does make you better going into the playoffs and then going forward because you do have one of the best slashers in the game who pretty much does everything that Jokic doesn't, right? And we're talking about Jokic as one of the best bigs, arguably the best big in the game. Now you got somebody who basketball-wise makes sense that'll make you a lot better. You did get rid of Gary Harris, of course, but I think you can go out and find a better backcourt made for Jamal Murray, especially when he goes into the playoffs. I do think Jamal Murray will turn up in the playoffs. Now let's get to this other team. Let's be real, brothers. I made a statement that I'm pretty sure all of y'all, maybe one of you guys were on my team. And when I made this statement, y'all criticized me. I'm not asking for an apology. I'm just saying. But I said that the Houston Rockets were going to get more of a Russell Westbrook than they got for James Harden. Looking back at that trade now, ladies and gentlemen, let's see who they got in return for Harden. Dante Exum, Avery Bradley, Kelly Olynyk, DJ Augustine, who I love, I think who's actually going to get bought out, and DJ Wilson. That's who y'all got for the superstar?
Seems pretty solid to me. He's troll. I need to still episode because I don't remember
about
because who these players get bought out. But what I'm saying is this all y'all expect more. Is y'all not?
Ain't my team, so I don't care.
Right.
I mean, that is a one-time that trade almost would never happen. That trade is that terrible. So you're gloating about something that nobody in Earth or in time would have suggested that probably would have happened.
I told you this on Twitter. The Westbrook trade was easy. This trade should have been easier. So and
they made it hard.
Nah, the Miami Heat made it hard, but not including Tyler Hero.
No comment.
Philly made it hard, not including Ben Simmons.
Yeah, and Philly, both them played.
Y'all kept Hero for a reason, but the losers clearly Houston. Clearly. And it can stop here.
Next. Hero, James Harden, next.
So my biggest loser actually is the Boston Celtics and Danny Ainge, because Danny Ainge is the only dude I know that make calls but does nothing. Like, he called everybody just to make everybody happy. Yeah, he's the ultimate pump faker. Like, that's all Danny does. Like, and then to get Evan Fournier, and that was their big heist was Evan Fournier. I ain't seen Evan Fournier play in a long time. You don't need shooters or wings. You need a big man, and they did not get anybody. They didn't get Anthony Davis. They didn't get Andre Drummond. They didn't get Gorgie Jane. They didn't get DeAndre Jordan. They didn't get nobody. No. So Boston, and I mentioned it earlier in the season, like, Boston gonna take a step back, and they ain't looking too good right now. They below 500 last I checked. So my big winner actually is the Miami Heat, because I like Oladipo with Jimmy Butler. And with the defensive makeup of the team, I feel like he fits. Yeah, Sheedy. I feel like you're adding another piece to a team that, not saying they're gonna win, because no, they're not gonna win, but they're gonna be annoying come playoff time. And as it stands right now, they would play Philly in the first round, but I think they have a good enough team to jump to the 4th seed, where Charlotte currently is right now. They're 2 games back of Charlotte. So you can easily get home court advantage. Well, not that it matters, but you can get a higher seed in the playoffs, depending on what they do with Oladipo. I think Oladipo's good. He's a good second or third. Really, he can be a 3rd or 4th option in this team, because you got Hero, you got Butler, you got Bam. So him in that spot, I think is going to work well for him. So Miami Heat are my winners, low key. Don't come for me, please.
I'm not gonna come for you because I agree. It's a tie for me though. First I start with the other team, Orlando, going all in on the rebuild. Finally, got tired of seeing them being AC against up in the first round every year. Thank you. Just gonna get rid of the players, start over. About time. Miami Heat, like I said, I don't think Oladipo makes a difference at all. James Harden trade, I want it. We want to win the championship. So, but the Oladipo trade matters in this sense. You traded him, you got him for nothing. And it kind of helps. So this summer, you was gonna have to pay him big money to sign him. Now you got him for free for a bag of protectors, whoever we traded, Olenek and Avery Bradley. Avery Bradley one playing, Olenek. So you got him. Now you got this half of the season to see him. You could decide the rest of this season whether you want to pay him big money this offseason without actually getting to the offseason and paying him big money and he busts. Now you got the rest of the season to like, okay, let's see how this works. Let's see how healthy he is, see how good he can be. Then you could decide this offseason whether to pay him or not without it, being a risk. Now you would know. You got your health, your training stuff, all that. They all could see him. So it worked out in that sense. And my loser is the Houston Rockets. I mean, what they got back for Oladipo and the whole James Harden trade period, everything they got back. So,
oh man, all my answers have been taken. So I guess the winners for me, I think, is the Miami Heat. I think to what you just said, Sharky. I think for what you were able to get and what you were only able to ship away, like you got Oladipo and you gave away two people that honestly most people forgot were on the team 2 months ago. So I think that's a huge upgrade. I think what that team, Pat Riley and his organization were able to do to get the roster that they have now. You still got Tyler Hero, you still got Duncan Robinson, you still got Jimmy Butler, you still got Bam Adebayo can play some damn defense, by the way. Just thought I'd say that. But I think Miami looks really, really good. So I'm interested. I definitely want a Brooklyn Nets and Miami Heat Eastern Conference matchup. I definitely want that. And right now, currently constructed, I think that's the only team in the East that will give Brooklyn a run for the money, which goes to my loser, to what Tavern just said. Boston Celtics are not looking good at all. They had so much talent. They had so much collateral with draft picks and stuff like that, which they have Jason Tatum and Jason Tatum and what's the other guy's name? Yeah, Jaylen Brown. But what is there to show for it? Right now, you aren't even fourth, fifth best team in the Eastern Conference right now. Nobody wants to go to Boston. Well, I mean, the last, I guess, decent free agent that they got was Gordon Hayward. So Boston doesn't look good right now, and I'm not sure how Boston will look good going forward. So they're my losers.
Okay. So as I've written in the blog, both Florida teams will actually be my winners in the vote. Orlando for their everything must go sale. Finally deciding to buy in and build around our guy Markelle Fultz. So shout out.
We're back with a vision.
That's a troll.
We got a vision. We got a vision. They got a vision for Markelle. So shout out to Orlando for that.
Hey, on that one, can I ask y'all something real quick? Do y'all think Vucevic going to Chicago is enough for all these trade rumors about Zach LaVine to chill, or y'all think it's going to be ongoing still?
I think they're happy with LaVine and Vucevic. I think that's good.
Yeah,
to keep
that's
it.
good.
I didn't want to. I wanted Trevor to go with his goals real quick, but that Vucevic going to Chicago is very, very underrated because Vucevic is like top 4 footwork in the paint. And
he might be number 1, dog.
He might be number 1. I ain't gonna lie to you.
And he's constantly giving 20 and 10 to some bums. Imagine if he had some help.
And they got rid of him. And they traded Otto Porter for him.
Well, yeah. So, of course, Orlando with their everything must go sale, buying in on their rebuild. Looks like they're going to try to rebuild around Fultz and Isaac. Of course, with Miami, everyone just talked about it with the addition of Victor Oladipo, basically giving up some hot fries and the small little free stuff for him. Pretty much,
it's not a bad deal.
It pretty much puts you guys back in the Eastern Conference Finals against Brooklyn. So at this point, it really just depends on the matchups at this point. As Savage said, you guys will be annoying, like a real tough out. But of course, ultimately, Brooklyn, in my mind, pulls it off. My losers is concerned. As obvious as it is with Houston, I'm actually going to just go away from Houston. I'm actually going to go with Boston because as I've written, every day you look up, there's always a tweet or a report coming out about how Boston nearly pulled the trigger on the deal, but yet they somehow don't do it for some reason. And then for them to get Evan Fournier, granted you didn't give up much for him, but it's a more so of now you have too many cooks in the kitchen at this point. Like you literally have 4 or 5 guys who basically played pretty much the same on the wing as far as they want to create their own shots and things of that nature. Then if he's going to be out there in the fourth quarter, that means either Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown is not going to be out there. And then what are you going to do with Marcus Smart at this point, who just came back, who also was being rumored to being traded as well? Surprised that he's stuck around. But, yeah, I don't see how this benefits Boston going forward. So outside of Houston, because, again, I'm still like, I'm not going to even get into Houston on that one. But, yeah, so my winners, I'm actually going with both Florida teams and then Boston as a loser. I think, Shark, you had something to add.
They also traded Daniel Tice.
Yeah, to Chicago, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
So, yeah, Chicago getting some nice pieces there. So
Yeah, I got another loser nobody mentioned, but I say Philly is a loser by not getting Kyle Lowry. And so basically, both Philly and Miami were trying to get Kyle Lowry. Both of them, basically, Miami said, all right, we're going to get Oladipo. Philly got George Hill. That could have been different of them getting East Conference Finals.
Miami, if I'm not mistaken, with Miami, they didn't want to part with Duncan Robinson.
Yeah.
They didn't part with.
It was Tyler Hero. They were willing to get rid of Duncan because he's a free agent.
Tyler Hero is the one.
No, I thought it was Duncan. They were asking for.
It was Hero.
No,
I thought it was Duncan.
No, Miami said they were willing. They said Miami was willing to give up Duncan.
Give up Tyler.
They didn't want to give up Tyler Hero.
Oh, so they were.
I guess so, because Duncan Robinson's a free agent, so they was like, we give him up because we might not be able to resign him.
Okay. Yeah, because I was reading they was asking for Duncan.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead,
I think any team that could have gotten Kyle Lowry but didn't are losers.
Except the Lakers.
Except the Lakers.
Yeah. I hear what
I would lean more so towards Philly.
Okay. I get Lakers.
Let's be real too.
Healthy.
Yeah, of course. Lakers. I mean, if they weren't healthy and got Kyle Lowry, that wouldn't make no difference.
Yeah, well,
they need LeBron and AD, whether they got Kyle Lowry or not. Let's be real.
Yeah.
He ain't top 10 without some help, huh?
I really wanted the Clippers to get him, but they got Rondo, which I guess playoff Rondo, playoff Pee. Maybe they push each other.
We'll see.
We'll see.
That could have been a loser right there.
Could have number his weight. All right, Sheedy.
NFL time, man, and football season is gearing back up for us. We know it's March. April brings on draft and such. And speaking of the draft, that's our focus for today's headlines. There's been some major shakeups within the draft. And so I've asked the guys some questions, and I want them to respond about those. Sorry if you hear my son yelling, because I'm about to yell at him. But just in regards to shake up of the draft. And so the first part I want to talk about is the Eagles and the Dolphins. The Eagles trade the number 6 pick and the 156th pick to the Dolphins for the number 12, 123rd pick and the 2022 first round. There is a resident Eagles fan on the show. Would like to hear his opinion from there, and it's so fitting that you have Took right next to him, because Took is going to discuss it from the Finns' perspective. Savage, take it away.
So, first, let me start here. I am going to get more in depth with this trade on, I don't know, sports podcast released tomorrow. But my initial reaction for the Eagles was like, dude, we could have had Jamar Chase or Kyle Pitts right there in your hand. Right there in your hand. And that's one. But looking at it from like a business standpoint, a team standpoint, in terms of like the Eagles needing young players, because we have, I'm sure y'all can't name our young talent that's like blue chip, like Pro Bowl caliber player. We haven't drafted a Pro Bowler since Carson Wentz, and he's no longer on the team. He only made it one time. So yeah. So we needed to get more draft capital. We're hoping to have 3 first-round picks next year, which is great because one, you can get more young talent, more young elite talent, Or if you need to get a quarterback, you can go get a quarterback through that year's draft or trade for Deshaun Watson. Hope things work out for him. I wouldn't mind getting Deshaun Watson, but I mean, yeah, I really hate that we're missing out on Jamar Chase because it's been 2 years for me wanting the LSU wide receiver. Justin Jefferson last year, who broke the record for receiving yards, and now Jamar Chase probably gonna do the same thing this year, or Kyle Pitts. I don't know, but go ahead, Sharky.
You still got Terrence Marshall Jr. out there though.
Yeah,
I don't know what that is, but okay.
He's good.
I know he's good. We still can get Jalen Waddle, which I'll be okay with Jalen Waddle or Surtain or Devontae Smith. I'm fine, but I really wanted that elite blue chip talent. But hey, I'm not as mad or upset, but I low key still am. So yeah.
Cool. It's on me to discuss the Dolphins, right?
Right, from the Dolphins perspective. Yep.
Okay, so pretty much the Dolphins had the number 3 pick. Now they got the number 6 and then 156 next year's first, and then they got a first in 2023 from the 49ers, which may more than likely be a top 5 pick the way it's looking at San Fran unless they can turn up things. But that's another top 4 different story. For the Dolphins, I'm just happy that they gave Tua a peace of mind. And what I mean by that is that there's an ongoing debate, or have been an ongoing debate between me and Sharky about Tua's career, right? And where we both see him going. I think with this move, now he gets a good fresh start with an organization that believes in him, because if they would have stayed in that 3, it would have been get a quarterback, get somebody that could replace Tua. But he just getting started, right? Like, why would you want something who, Sharky feels like is a franchise quarterback to not be happy? So I think with this move, you can develop, elsewhere. You get, other first-round picks, and also you get to add on to that top 5 defense from last year. And I think that's the most important thing. The Dolphins could be a playoff team next year, and I think that they will, with the healthy Tua, fresh, give them the pieces around them. I think the Dolphins will be a scary team next season. But it's on Tua. Like, also, I think the Dolphins could also made a mistake because maybe Tua's not their quarterback for the future, and they could have had him in this year's draft with that top 3 pick. So I think you put a lot on Tua at this point, but that is your franchise quarterback. I think that's the pressure that you need to put on for him to succeed.
All right, thanks for weighing in. I definitely hope that the Eagles do get some type of talent at wide receiver, even though they've been torching the Cowboys regardless without that. But I want to also continue from Tuke's perspective in regards to the Dolphins. Right, so the Dolphins weren't done. Within like another 24 to 36 hours, there was another trade. And then when the Dolphins did receive the number 12, a third, and a future first, where the 49ers got the number 3. So from the Dolphins' perspective, Trevor, if you can continue from where Tuke was at, and then Shark can close up with how this is looking for the 49ers.
Okay, well, I'll kind of continue, like you said, with from the perspective of the Dolphins. Just from this point, it looks like the Dolphins are looking to acquire more draft capital, more draft assets. At least for next season, it's looking to show that they're willing to buy in on Tua because, of course, there were rumors going around that whether or not Tua was going to be the guy. Dolphins could be in play to possibly get Deshaun Watson, things of that nature. But by this move that they pulled with the 49ers originally, before trading with Philly to move up to 6, and I believe they still have their pick at 18 as well. It's just them acquiring more assets to add to their defense that they've had this past season, potentially push themselves back in the playoff hunt. From the most mock drafts that I've seen post this trade, it's showing the Dolphins taking either Jamar Chase or Kyle Pitts with the number 6 pick that they have now after this deal. So again, the Dolphins, kudos to them for that. It looks like they're not only buying in on Brian Flores as their coach moving forward, they also, for at least next season, they're buying in on Tua as their quarterback.
And before I talk about the 49ers, let me show y'all something where Laramie Tunsil posted. It's hard to see. But basically, the Dolphins got a boatload of picks because of Laramie Tunsil. When they made the trade to Houston, they got 2 first-round picks. They now have 4 first-round picks and 2 second-round picks and a third-round pick.
Jeez.
That's from trading Laramie Tunsil.
One ball.
But before Nice first be after trading up to get the number 3 pick, they traded what 2 firsts in it and a 3rd round pick, 2 future firsts. That's a lot for them to do that, then to come out and say Jimmy G is their starter. Makes no sense. So Jimmy G, of course, I mean, he might still be there this year, but I don't know. You can't. I don't know what the 49ers are doing. I don't know. I don't know how to explain, because they're drafting a quarterback. Let's just be real. You're not trading up to number 3 and you're selecting a receiver. They saw Zach Wilson's pro day, and they saw your boy Justin Fields' pro day. They know what they're doing. They're like, nah, we got it. We want one of them.
They're taking Zach Wilson, man, and they probably gonna regret it because they should have taken Justin Fields. But
so the best extent they're gonna get to pick a little bit on what the Jets do it too. So we'll see. But I mean, Jimmy G gotta go. So
what they should do is never got rid of Colin Kaepernick. They never did. And so as to close out, Skylar, can you offer your thoughts and opinions about the trades? You can grade them if you would like, but how will you foresee this working for the Dolphins, Eagles, and or 49ers?
Yeah, so the two questions that I think that I had going for the trade is, I think Miami answered the question of who's going to be their quarterback, right? I think there was rumors like, okay, but what if Miami wanted to take another quarterback with there being so many great quarterbacks in this draft? I think to what Trevor said is that I think they're trying to do their best to believe in Tua, so they're going to give him more weapons to do that with either Kyle Pitts or Jamar Chase or whatever the wide receivers are. So I think what they're doing is saying, okay, Tua, here's all your weapons, but if you don't work out, then I got all these assets, which just Sarkis just said, from the Larry Tunsil trade, right? So I think they set themselves up really well. If Tua works, then fine, you already got your quarterback, and you can use those picks towards something else. But if it doesn't work, then I got these other draft picks that I could use to potentially take a quarterback next year. And I think for the 49ers, I think, Sarkis, you've answered their question for them. They're taking quarterback. Jimmy G, in my honest opinion, I think either he will get beat out in the quarterback for the quarterback competition, or he'll be traded, one of the two. But I think this shows that they don't believe in Jimmy G. He's never healthy. So that's their issue, and I think they're going to take Justin Fields.
Here's the image that Larry Tunsil posted on his Twitter, Instagram.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. Man, Houston taking a crazy amount of L's in the sports realm. I ain't gonna lie to you.
I got one more L for when they want to trade him to Philly. Like, what's up with it? We got 3 first-round picks next year. You can have it.
Man.
All right, let's finally get to the would you rather that Sheedy has had like a couple of different ones he had over the last couple of months. You still got it?
Yeah, man, sure. And so this would you rather, it's going to go, this first one at least will go against where our usual is like picking 1-2 options. You have 3 options on the table. So the first would you rather I have is the GOAT discussion. Is it LeBron James? Is it Mr. 12 himself, Tom Brady, or Mr. 7, however you want to call him? Or is it other? And so who would you rather call a GOAT? And I would say during our time, right? These people that I've named, I'm not naming, I don't know, Muhammad Ali, right? But I'm talking about like within our span, within generation of millennials. What do you see as a GOAT, or who do you see as a GOAT?
I think I'll go first. For me, it's an ongoing battle between. For me, it's either between Serena and LeBron. Those two are going back and forth every single year, in my personal opinion. I think if Serena can go and close out for the end of her career to get the most Grand Slams, I think she could potentially be it. But I honestly think that if LeBron James wins a title this year, after as many teams are stacked and loaded with talent, I think it's going to be LeBron James. And if he wins it this year, I think it's hands down. for all the competition that he's come across in his entire career. He's going to. I like how you're looking over there too. That's pretty funny. But I just think the teams that he beat, the records that he'll have when his career is over with, I think it'll be LeBron James if he wins a title this year.
You gonna go, Brooke? You gonna go? Okay, I go. So I'm assuming in this discussion we're not including Michael Jordan because we're talking about true all time. So I would say
I was just gonna say because yeah.
So I would say LeBron as well for this reason. Tom, it's a tough choice between him, Tom, and Serena. Serena, yes, you do have the it's a single sport, so I mean it's hard to go against that. But I think for LeBron, for him to still be in his 18th year and still producing at the level he's producing, and to be mindful that basketball, similar like tennis is a single sport. Basketball, you got to play both offense and defense. Tom Brady, you don't have to play on defense. And Tom Brady has had some great defenses in almost all of his Super Bowls. His defense is really good. So that's the knock if you're doing like all sports. So that's the knock I would put against Brady and choose LeBron in that realm, just for the fact that you ain't got to worry about whole side of the ball in football. So it's really like Skyler says, between LeBron and Serena, I'll go with LeBron. I don't know, that's tough because both of them, it's been long for both of them. But I'll go with LeBron, but Serena damn near.
I'm gonna say LeBron because, well, it's so hard because like Serena's so dominant.
Yeah.
And I was gonna say LeBron had so much better competition in like his finals appearances and even just in general. But like Serena, I mean, she's so dominant that it's like hard to like say like, you know, she can't be the GOAT. So man, I'm pick LeBron because LeBron, he's still. I don't know if Serena will come back as strongly because I mean Naomi Osaka is some problems over there. But I'm gonna go pick LeBron because LeBron, he still has a window right now for the next couple years, even if he like rides AD's coattails and then now Drummond and whoever else they decided to bring along. And even like now his game has kind of like eased up a little bit because he's playing point guard more and not forcing shots as much as he used to. So I'm gonna go with LeBron over Brady.
Yeah, it's a third person that you can add into this too, because I think it not only comes down between Serena, LeBron, but also Mr. Woods himself, Tiger Woods, who should also be in this discussion. Much like Serena, it's for a good little span of time, practically since we all have been growing up. Like those two in their respective sports have been nothing short of dominant throughout, and of course. Both have had their I wouldn't necessarily say falling off, but you can tell that at this point in time now that they're not going to be the same as they were back in the time when they were actually dominating. So I'll lean more towards LeBron James as well, just for the simple fact of what he's done over the course of his career, longevity, the competition that he's dealing with since he's gotten in the NBA. I mean, players are much more skilled now than they were 20, even 30 years ago. So that kind of gives him the nod there. Like Savage said, his window is still open for at least another 3 seasons if you want to put a number on it. So, and then just everything he's done off the court as well. So I had to choose somebody who definitely be LeBron James.
Y'all gonna make me do it, huh?
Of course.
Make me do it.
It wouldn't be us if we did.
If we're talking greatest of our time, that's defined to me by winning, by putting your team in position to win after year after year. Thomas Brady has 7 Super Bowl rings. It's only one team that got 6 by itself. So I'm saying it's purely just goatism. Because Tom Brady beat us for one of his Super Bowls. Whether he cheated or not, it is what it is. But he won. And seeing that year after year, seeing the 40-year-old Tom Brady, Max Kellerman said, he's falling off a cliff. He falling off a cliff. 44 years old, literally goes
He froze. Sorry,
Speaking ill.
I think that's worthy of that happening to him because he did nothing but prove all of our points. We talked about how Tom Brady cheated. Not only did Tom Brady cheat once, cheated twice. That's knowingly. I've never seen Serena get caught up in any cheating scandals. I've never seen LeBron James get caught up in cheating scandals. Tiger Woods has been in a couple of cheating scandals, but
cheating on his wife, not on the golf course. Cheating on his wife, not on the golf course.
I mean,
but it has nothing to do with this.
Exactly, it has nothing to do with it.
Man, I was preaching a word and the devil stopped me. The devil won't let it be great today. Come on, man.
That's funny.
Come on, man. But nah, 7 Super Bowls in our lifetime. Like if he's saying to go, I get with the LeBron, but he also lost his fair amount of share too. And if we talking go, my GOAT battle is honestly Serena and Tom with us. And I get what y'all saying. If LeBron wins the championship this year, and I had to talk to my brother. Hey man, that's a tough one. Like he's still a beat clamp number 2 like ever to me. But as far as GOAT of our time, like 7 Super Bowls, y'all. After beating Patrick Mahomes, who was the golden child. Come on, y'all.
Like I said, with my argument is
let's be real. We know
football.
Yeah, it's a team sport. Tampa Bay's defense
beat
the Kansas City Chiefs.
You don't play defense.
Tampa Bay's defense.
Okay. How about this? How about he inspires one?
Tampa Bay had you said Tampa Bay had top 3 defense with James Winston. He
inspired the whole team. He literally came.
He threw 30 picks.
They had this defense already.
That didn't do a damn thing, even with that top 5 defense, to a Super Bowl.
And no, Jack, we're not disrespecting Tom Brady. We're just saying in football.
You know, y'all disrespected him when y'all didn't pick him in the Super Bowl. Y'all been disrespected to go. Y'all didn't get him a few months ago.
That's what's up.
If we're being transparent about it, if we're being real, if we gonna be real,
wrap it up, Sheedy. Wrap it up.
So, I hear you. I think Thomas is by far one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play the game of football.
Now, D.
Yeah, by far.
7.
And y'all know how I feel about LeBron as an athlete. But we say greatest of all time, and I gave you the other category. And I'm actually going to dip in the other category from someone no one has named yet. And please let me make sure I give my kudos to Serena Williams and everything that she's done for women in sports, tennis, and just everything that she's involved into. You're talking about a sport that's like one-on-one, that's mano a mano, like you're either better than me on this day or you're not. And to me, the GOAT that should be part of this conversation is Floyd Mayweather.
Yep. Do it. Forgot
Big Money Floyd.
Yep.
50-0. He talks it and he backs it up. And for everyone,
I'm not counting that ridiculous fight with Conor McGregor.
Man, that case you should count Manny Pacquiao because he waited for it.
At least it was an accident. Okay. All right.
What I'm saying, if he talked it, he backed it up.
You did.
People that said like, "Oh, he's not a real boxer," right? You don't really know boxing because boxing is about striking your opponent every time. It's about the counter and not even getting hit. And so, in an era where boxing is almost kind of dead, Floyd kept it alive. We didn't really care about boxing after Mike Tyson and Evander Holyfield, and then the heavyweights were gone. Butterbean was gone, right? Floyd picked up the ball and ran with it, and millionaire, and putting millions on the table for everybody else. But also, when it comes time to end the ring, not only is he bringing the money to the ring, he's leaving with the money in the ring too, because he got it like that. And so, to me, I'm giving it to Floyd, man.
That's money. That is a good one.
I think he slipped out was just a fact. He knows we picked somebody that was still playing. So with him being retired, it's just like it's easy to slip out mine. But he was part of our generation. So yeah, it was.
Can we poll this?
Yeah,
we definitely got to add. That's a good one, Sheedy. Floyd slipped my mind, but
because even Tiger Woods slipped out mine because he has done anything over the last few years. But overall,
I say it all the time, man. The last thing you want to see is a red shirt walking down the 18th hole on Sunday. You not want to see that, bro.
With a Nike hat on, man.
See,
exactly.
I don't think out the poll we can only do 4. Maybe we should just do 3 and do other.
Yeah, LeBron, Brady. I don't know who else be third and other. Or
We got to decide this now.
I think Serena. I think Serena.
Yeah, Serena will be in there.
I think
Yeah,
the
let's
majority
do
of
LeBron, Brady,
Yeah.
Serena, and then other.
other. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. All right, just for this episode. Anybody got anything? Any other breaking news?
Yeah, man. 21.
Huh?
Ain't you turning 21?
Yeah, I'm turning 20. Yeah, 21. You can say 21. Turning 20. Turning 29 on the 29th. My last day of 28 on the 28th.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, one thing. Finally, and I know this is kind of silly, but finally, COVID works out in the favor of the Pittsburgh Steelers as Tyson Alahu, I hope I ain't butchered it, is actually going to be re-signing with the Steelers after agreeing to terms with the Jacksonville Jaguars. But peep this, unfortunately, he couldn't get to Jacksonville to sign his contract because he tested positive for COVID. And apparently during that time, he had a change of heart and decided he wanted to come back to the Steelers. So, yeah.
I don't know why. It's being a quarterback, but hey.
It is what it is.
I have nothing to say about the Pittsburgh Steelers right now. I don't.
Yeah, me either.
All right, NFL draft in the month, fellas.
Can't wait. Can't wait.
All right, Bart Scott. Can't wait. He lost to y'all. After
Lost to Pittsburgh, right? Lost to Pittsburgh.
Okay. All right, man. Until next time. Peace.
Be easy.